Good day everyone. In this video I will break down for you a critical moment in geopolitics, the heated exchange between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We will look at the most important parts of this meeting, how it went and how Trump made his point against Zelensky. For the first time, someone openly voiced what many around the world believe, something that mainstream media in Europe and the pro-war advocates in the US refuse to acknowledge. Let's go step by step. Here are most important takeaways from the meeting, based on American and international sources. Trump and Zelensky met to talk about US support for Ukraine and to work out to sign a deal for extracting minerals, which Trump thought was worth $1 trillion. The deal was meant to repay the US for the military help it gave from the start of the war. The economic and strategic ties between the two countries could get stronger because of this deal. Quite frankly, it is very unusual for the previous government, for the previous administration, not to have asked Ukraine to pay for the weapons it got. The conversation began on a formal note. Both leaders exchanged courtesies, answered questions from journalists, and maintained a professional tone. At one point, Vice President J.D. Vance said that the Biden government was not doing a good job of handling the conflict in Ukraine. He said that the best way to end the war is through diplomacy, not constant military help and military actions. Zelensky replied strongly, pointing out that Russia had been aggressive many times before. He said that Moscow was breaking international agreements and wasn't sure that diplomatic solutions would work. It is important to note, however, that Zelensky missed many crucial facts. For instance, 16,000 Russians have died in Ukraine because of acts by Ukrainian forces, including those by the Azov regiment. Secondly, Ukraine broke the so-called Minsk agreements. Also, we should keep in mind that Tulsi Gabbard, the US Director of National Intelligence, has talked publicly for years about the fact that there are CIA bases and biomedical labs in Ukraine. The mainstream media, on the other hand, say that none of this is real or has anything to do with the war. The story makes it sound like Ukraine had nothing to do with starting the war. Interesting. Things got worse when Zelensky asked Vance for more information on the diplomacy plan he was proposing. This seemed like a challenge to Vance, and he thought Zelensky's tone was rude. Trump didn't hold back. He said that Zelensky was gambling with World War III, and that Ukraine wasn't thanking the US enough for its help. As the discussion became more heated, Trump abruptly ended the meeting. He cancelled a scheduled press conference and withdrew from a planned working lunch with Zelensky. The tense situation had instant effects. The planned deal on mineral resources was cancelled, which made things even worse between US and Ukraine. Speaking to reporters, Trump stated that Zelensky is not ready for peace as long as America is involved. He suggested that Ukraine should return to the negotiating table only when it is serious about peace. Another issue that drew attention was Zelensky's outfit. During the press conference in the Oval Office of the White House, a journalist pointed out that his casual clothing was seen by many politicians, many journalists, as a sign of disrespect. After the meeting, European leaders like French President Emmanuel Macron and Prime Ministers of Sweden and Poland made it clear that they would continue to back Ukraine. It's hard to believe that European leaders always support policies that make things worse across the region, instead of trying to make peace with Russia. That's not fair. European lawmakers only back something that makes things even more dangerous for everyone on the continent, but they don't want peace with Russia, at least from my point of view. Moscow responded right away. Medvedev, who used to be president of Russia, made fun of Zelensky by calling him an insolent swine and praised Trump for taking a strong stance. The meeting caused more political differences to grow. Some Republicans in the US liked Trump's tough stance, but some Democrats didn't like it and said that his actions helped Russia. The world now faces serious questions. How will this confrontation affect the war in Ukraine, the future of Europe? What does it mean for US foreign policy? And how will this shift global security dynamics? There are also other important questions that have not been answered. What will happen next? What effect will this meeting have on the war in Ukraine and the scrapped mining deal? I think there is a strong link between the war in Ukraine and the war in the Middle East. The tensions in the Middle East. They are both proxy fights, proxy conflicts, proxy wars between the US and the rest of the world. Russia, its allies, BRICS countries as a whole. As the US tries to keep its hold on global power and the dollar's dominance, de-dollarization is at the heart of the matter. The most important thing is that I think the US is in talks with Russia about a deal including a bigger picture. In exchange, Russia would be expected to stay out of a war led by Israel and the United States against Iran, even though it has a strategic partnership with Tehran. If Russia says no to this plan, peace talks are likely to fall apart for a number of reasons. I'm also worried about the chance of things getting worse, since both Israel and the US want to keep troops from going to Iran's aid. All of this means that Russia and its partners should be busy with their own war in Europe. In short, that's the big picture. At the same time, there is another important question to answer. Will countries in Europe try to fill in for the United States and give Ukraine more help to continue the war with Russia? In my eyes, it would be risky for them to do so, and it would be more of anti-Russian marketing than real strategic interest. Why would Germany, France, the Netherlands, Spain, or even Poland want to keep this war going? Think about it. Really, does anyone think that Russia is getting ready to attack Western Europe? That's it for today. If you find this video useful, please subscribe, share it, or leave a comment with your feedback. See you in the next video. Thank you.